It didn't just stay in one spot, did it? It started small, one toe, maybe a patch on the bottom of your foot, something you could almost ignore, but then it changed. It spread, your whole foot, then the other, then your ankles, and now you're wondering, where does this stop? Because here's what most people don't realize. Neuropathy almost never stays the same. And by the time you realize it, it's not where it used to be. It's more area, more intensity, more limitation. And the question that starts creeping in is this just how it goes now? I'm Dr. Smith, and along with Dr. Irvin, we're the neuropathy doctors. And after working with thousands of people over the past 17 years, this pattern is one of the most important things we help people finally make sense of. The fact that it doesn't stay where it started, it moves. But more importantly, there's a reason it moves. It's not just the symptoms themselves, it's the progression, how it moves, how it spreads, and how it feels like it's slowly taking more and more from you. To understand why neuropathy spreads, you have to understand what's actually happening to the nerve itself, because this isn't by accident, it's structural. Every nerve in your body is protected by something called the myelin sheath. Think of it like insulation around a wire. Its job is to protect the nerve, help signals travel efficiently, keep communication clear and strong. Now here's where things start to break down though. When the body is under stress, whether that's metabolic stress, inflammation, or reduced circulation, that protective coating, it starts to deteriorate. Not all at once, but gradually. Think of it like a dying tree. When it starts to die, it doesn't begin at the trunk. It starts at the edges of the branches and it works its way back. Or like a crack in a windshield, it starts small, barely noticeable almost, but over time it spreads outward, not randomly, but along stress lines within the glass. That's exactly what happens with neuropathy. The nerves in our feet are small extensions of the longest nerves in our body. They're the tips of those tree branches, so to speak. And those nerves in your toes are the smallest of all of them, which is exactly why they happen to be the most vulnerable. So when that protective layer starts breaking down, the feet are where you feel it first. Not because that's where the problem started, but because that's where the system is weakest. So when it starts in one toe, that's not the full problem. That's the first visible sign of a deeper process. And if that process continues, the damage doesn't stay contained, it spreads. Toes, more toes, foot, both feet, sometimes all the way up to the knees. This happens in a pattern, a very predictable pattern. Jolene experienced this firsthand.
I was dealing with increasing pain and numbness in my feet. It had started just numbness in my big toe 2 years before. It just stayed like that for 2 years. And then out of the blue in one summer, it increased to be very, very painful to walk.
2 years in one spot, which makes you think, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe this is all it's gonna be. And then suddenly, it's not just one toe anymore. Jan's progression looked different, but the outcome was the same. And here's a reality of neuropathy that rarely, if ever, gets talked about. It's not just you who it affects the people around you.
The burning, the sensation, the pain in my feet was so that I could only go for maybe 2 or 3 miles a day with my wife, and I'd been doing anywhere from 6 to 12 miles a day. And so that kind of really affected me. It affected her, affected our lives together to the point that was something we really enjoyed doing together. And I had to stop walking golf courses. It just got absolutely too painful. It wasn't fun to play golf anymore.
Something he and his wife used to really enjoy, something that added quality to their lives, was no longer possible simply because his neuropathy kept advancing. And here's the mistake most people make at this point. They focus on where they feel it instead of asking why it's spreading. So they chase the symptom, the foot, the burning, the tingling, but the progression keeps going. They assume the symptom is the problem, but those symptoms are just expressions of the problem, not the driver of it. If the underlying stress on the nerve doesn't change, the deterioration of that protective layer continues. And as that signal gets weaker, more areas become affected. That's why it feels like it's spreading, because it is. But here's the most encouraging part. If that process can move in one direction, it can move in the other, because nerves don't just shut off, they degrade, and they can recover if the environment around them changes. When you understand that progression is happening, you can actually do something about it. And this is where stories like Jolene's and Jan's shift. Because once the right conditions are created, the progression slows, it stops, and in many cases, it actually starts to reverse, where feeling begins to return, where movement becomes easier, where confidence comes back.
Overall, I feel so much better. Definitely my feet feel so much better. So much better. I almost feel normal again.
Last summer was not a good summer for me for hiking. My wife did a lot of hiking all by herself. And now I'm looking forward to this summer coming up, looking forward to getting out there and doing twice as much as what I could do last year. So I'm seeing a great improvement.
We've seen this over and over again. People who thought it was just going to keep getting worse, who were on the brink of giving up hope, start to regain feeling, start to walk more, start to get their lives back. Neuropathy isn't just something that happens to you and doesn't stay the same. It's something that follows a process of breakdown, and if addressed correctly, a process of recovery. But that process doesn't change on its own. That's the truth. So the real question is, which direction is yours going right now? Is it reversing, or is it spreading and getting worse? Because if it's the latter, and you're serious about changing that, then we want to give you the opportunity to apply to work with us. There's a link in the description. If it makes sense, we'll guide you through what that looks like. If it doesn't, that's completely fine. And if you're still in the phase of trying to understand all of this neuropathy stuff and what the best approach is, we also have a free training called the 90-Day Reset Method, where we break down the exact framework that we use with our clients to get incredible results. That's in the description as well. One of the hardest parts about neuropathy isn't just how it feels, it's the uncertainty, the worry, not knowing if it's going to stay the same or continue to take more from you. But what we want you to understand is this: what you're experiencing isn't happening by chance. There's a reason it started and there's a reason it spread. But don't lose sight of the fact that because of this, there's a way to change its direction. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.